Hey, welcome to Gentle Yoga. My name is Catherine. Today we're going to be doing a lot of hip and hamstring work. In order to facilitate this, we're going to need a chair, two blocks, or maybe a stepping stool, just something to make your arms longer. And some of you might need a belt if you are feeling pretty tight in your quads. So we're going to begin on our backs in constructive rest pose. Come on down. Taking the feet wide on the mat, thighs rest together. Bring your hands to your belly and soften your gaze on the ceiling or close your eyes. Take a big belly breath into your hands. Exhaling completely. Do that twice more on your own. And letting your breath just come to a natural rhythm and pace. In your mind's eye, find yourself in the room that you're in and greet yourself into this space. Greet yourself into your practice. Welcome. And then I'd like you to take a big morning stretch. So extend your arms, extend your legs like you just woke up in the morning. Maybe even yawn if that feels good. And then we'll draw the knees, bend the knees, placing the feet on the mat, and bring the right ankle on top of your left thigh. Drawing either the left thigh into the chest or grabbing a hold of the shin, whatever's accessible to you. Some of you might find in pigeon pose, it's easier to just rest the bottom foot on a block and, if you're unable to reach the legs. And let's just take a few breaths here, settling into this stretch. The top foot is flexed. Releasing the weight of the pelvis into the mat. Let your belly soften, your jaw soften. Take one more round of breath here. Good, and then release your bottom foot to the mat. You're going to reach on the inside of your right leg and either grab a hold of the right heel or the right ankle. And you might just, the opposite knee can just fall open. You might just pause here, kind of somewhere between. I do this pose I like to call floating cobblers. It's like half floating cobblers. Feeling a stretch in the inner thigh, in the inner right groin. If you can move towards a half happy baby, do that. Okay. It's kind of nice too if you grab a hold of the heel from the inside and you press the hand into the heel into the hand, and you're getting a kind of an active stretch here. You could do this even with holding the ankle. You pull the ankle towards the floor and then you keep extending, reaching through that heel. Let's take a couple more breaths, feeling this active hamstring, a little bit of the inner groin, really this active stretch. Good, and then release the right foot to the mat. And before we go to the second side, I'd like you to take the feet wide. Knees are pointing towards the ceiling. Extend your arms left and right. We're just going to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Draw your low belly in, the area below your navel draws in. And then the next time the knees go to the left, you'll pause there, turning the head to the right. And you'll notice that my feet aren't together, so they're still apart, right? And that way we're getting a nice stretch, hopefully in the front of the right hip, maybe the front of the right thigh. To increase the stretch, you're going to slightly engage your right glute and reach the right knee away from your belly button. Lots of length in the right side of the trunk. Take one more round of breath here. And then swing the knees back up. We'll do the second side from the top, starting with the reclined pigeon. Left ankle on right thigh. And arranging your legs and arms in a way that fits you today. Just take a look at that top foot. We want to have the foot flexed, so you're reaching through the heel to help stabilize the knee joint. Let your belly soften here, releasing the weight of the pelvis into the earth. And as you breathe deep here, softening the tissue of the face, the mouth, the tongue, the ears. Take one more round of breath here. And then release. Moving into a variation of half happy baby. You're going to grab a hold of either the heel of the left foot as the opposite knee swings open, or maybe you grab a hold of the ankle, the shin, wherever you can hold on to. Might hang out here. Maybe you move more in the shin comes into a more vertical position. Wherever you are, whatever you're holding on to, you're going to pull on it as you push the leg away. So we have the leg is pushing into the arm in some way. So really, it's like an active stretch here. And you'll know maybe you need to adjust the posture if like you can't breathe, right? Maybe you go to this half Cobblers pose or half happy, half floating Cobblers. So stay active in the stretch. Let's take about one or two more breaths here. And then you'll gently release, taking the feet as wide as the mat once again. Knees are pointing up, arms go left and right. And then windshield wipering the knees side to side. So you're kind of rotating our femur bone or thigh bone around in the socket as we do this, just naturally occurring as we windshield wipering the knees. And then the next time the knees move to the right, you'll pause there. Head can turn left. To increase the stretch in front of the left hip and the top of the left thigh, you're going to engage the left glute and reach the left knee away from the navel. Breathing some length into the left side trunk. Take one more round of breath here. And then coming back through center. Go ahead and roll onto one side, coming on up. Oh, let's start that again. Now let's go ahead and flip on over onto our bellies. Tops of the feet are on the mat. Extend your arms long in front of you. Palms are going to face each other. Bring your forehead to the mat. And take a round of breath here. Coming into a variation of Locust Pose. On an inhale, you're going to lift your left leg and right arm. Just lift them straight up. Gaze forward. On the exhale, release everything back to the floor, nice and slow. Inhale, lifting right leg, left arm. And as always, we're not so concerned about how big or high the legs get, rather the sensation that we're experiencing. The inhale, left leg, right arm. So we want to create length in the spine, strength in the back body, a nice even feeling of strength as we move through this. Keep alternating, lifting arms and legs as you move with the breath. Low belly is pulling in as you lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Let's do about one or two more on either side. Good, and then release to the mat. Relax your glutes, relax your belly, and shimmy your hips a little side to side. If you have sensitive knees, flip over on your back and gently, slowly draw your knees into your chest. If you're okay being on hands and knees, let's come up for some Chakravakasana. With an inhale, lift your head and tail. And with an exhale, we're going to send the rear back to the heels like child's pose, rounding the spine, dropping the head. On the inhale, you'll come up through all fours, moving into your back bend. And then exhale, lift the spine, reach through the arms as you bring the thighs and chest together. Release the head to the floor. A few more rounds of breath like this, moving. So really you're just kind of moving in and out of like child's pose and cow pose. Next time you come on up through hands and knees, you're going to move through some lateral side bends. So exhale, looking over left shoulder, look at left hip. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, look over right shoulder at right hip. If you're on your back because your knees are feeling sensitive today, we'll just do a little bit of banana. We could do banana like on one side for about 3 or 4 breaths and then move to the second side. So that's where you're just keeping both hips on the mat as you walk your arms and legs one direction for a few breaths and then second side. Okay, and now from here, you're welcome to come into downward dog on the mat, or I'll demo with the chair doing chair dog. So take your time finding your expression of downward dog today. If you're using the chair, you'll have 2 front legs of the chair on the mat, and then just step the feet back. Now your body's in kind of a right angle here. The feet are under the hips. Extend the hips away from the seat. And as you're pressing your hands into the seat of the chair, don't move them, but kind of engage your arms as if you were going to try to squeeze your head with your upper arms. So you're trying to move the upper arms a little closer towards the head. Just activating some of the muscles in the arms, just hopefully help you get a little bit of a broader chest, deeper stretch in the arms. Taking a few more breaths in whatever variation of downward dog you're doing. Feel the weight of the body in the feet. And then if you're in a regular downward dog, walk your feet forward into a forward fold. If you're on the chair like me, just bring your fingertips to the floor. Maybe you need to grab a block if the floor still feels pretty far away. We'll take a forward fold, gazing between the knees for the next 3 breaths. And now without moving your feet, I'd like you to try to spiral your inner thighs towards the wall behind you, okay? So feet don't move. This is just we're engaging the muscles of the inner thighs and the hips in a way to just help increase a stretch in the backs of the legs, a release in the back. And then let's bend the knees and slowly roll up. Take your time. Head's the last thing to come up. Tadasana or mountain pose. Feel your breath. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of half sun salutation now. If coming up and down doesn't work for your body, if you have vertigo or something, I encourage you to either pause with your arms overhead for a little bit and then move nice and slowly into a forward fold if you like, or pause in the forward fold. So if you are okay with doing a little half sun salutation, here's how we're gonna do it. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive down. Let your knees bend as you come on down. Please feel free to have a block under either hand if the floor feels far. On the inhale, bring your hands to either your shins or your thighs and extend your heart horizontally away from your hips. Exhale, fold forward. On the inhale, push your feet in the floor, stand up, reach up. Exhale, palms together in front of heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, half forward fold, broad chest, spinal extension. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up, reach up. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Broad chest, strong legs. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, reach up. Exhale, palms together. Okay, we're going to do one more to the rhythm of your breath on our own when you're ready. Now, when you finish, end in a forward fold. Now, please have a block under either hand if you need it, okay? So the blocks are there. We're going to step back into a lunge with our right foot. If this doesn't work for you because your knees are sensitive, please come onto your back and hug your left knee into the chest as you extend your right leg. So those of you who are okay, step the right knee back. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Another option, you can just bring your hands to your hips, okay? So those of you with the sensitive knees, you're just doing a Panasana. You can extend the legs, the right leg. Let's take one more round of breath wherever you are. And then exhale, hands to the floor, blocks, tuck your back foot, and then we'll push off into a forward fold. Those of you on your back, you can just hang out, knees into chest, both knees. Inhale, half forward fold, so extend your heart away from your hips. Exhale, fold. Let's do the second side. Left leg comes back. Reaching the arms up or keeping the hands on the right hip. The right leg, excuse me. Those of you on your back, you know what to do. Second side. One more round of breath here. Fabulous. Now from here, we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to bring your hands to the floor and step your right foot back. Let's all meet on our belly, okay? So come on back, down, tops of the feet to the floor. If you have a sensitive back today, take your feet wide. If you're feeling okay in your back today, your feet can be together. Let's come into Sphinx Pose. Propping yourself up on your elbows. Forearms will be parallel. Spread your fingers wide. Lift the chest. And you're pushing the elbows into the mat, helping the shoulders come away from the ears as you push down into the mat and lift the heart forward and up. Low belly's pulling in, gazing forward. If this feels like too deep of a back bend for you today, you just walk your elbows forward a little bit. You kind of like come into a little bit more of like a crocodile variation, holding on to either elbow. Everyone's going to lengthen their tailbone towards their heels. Smooth out the breath. One more round. Good, and then come on down. While we're down here, let's open up the front of the shoulders. We'll open up the chest. So to begin, you're going to extend your left arm off to the left. Bring the left side of your face to the mat. Right hand underneath right shoulder. Spread your left fingers very strongly. And then start to bend the left elbow just a little bit so that the left shoulder comes away from the ear and can lift up off the floor. So I'm all on the floor, but my left shoulder is lifting. And I'm lifting it by pressing that left hand into the floor. Keep that. And now start to slowly roll onto your left side. Pressing left hand. You'll notice my left elbow is still bent a little bit. That helps me keep my left shoulder lifting up off the floor, even though my chest is on, well, the left side of my chest is on the mat. Press, press, press. So I want you to stay very active as you're opening the front of the shoulder. The left shoulder blade sliding down the back. Good, and then come on back through center. Second side, right side of the face to the mat. Right arm off to the right. Spread those fingers, slightly bend the right elbow until you can lift the right shoulder up off the floor. Shoulder blade coming down away from the ear and onto the back. Press, press, press with the palm into the mat, or the floor rather, and roll onto your right side. Taking a few breaths here, nice and long neck. And it's almost like the right hand, you're pressing down on something, and then you'd like try to press it down, but slide the hand away from the body at the same time. You're pushing it down and away. Of course, the hand won't move. So it's kind of like an isometric, lots of isometric stretches today. One more round of breath here. Good, and then come on back through center. Hands underneath shoulders. Let's just do a little baby cobra. So in a baby cobra, our arms aren't working so much. Our spinal muscles, our back is. So hug elbows in. On an inhale, just using the muscles of the back to lift. Again, we don't care about how high we get. We care rather about the evenness of sensation. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Gaze at the top edge of the mat and slightly draw your chin towards your throat if you feel like the back of your neck is getting shortened. Take one more breath here. Fabulous. Now you're going to release back onto the mat. Crocodile pose. Take the feet wide. Forehead rests on the mat. Big belly breath in. Open the mouth, let it out. Okay, take your time coming on up. We are going to either come into a downward dog or a chair dog. So make your way over that chair.
Extending the hips back behind you. A few breaths here. Really long spine and draw your low belly in and up so you can broaden your low back. So often, after a bunch of back bends, it's not uncommon to be like, oh, I want to just hug my knees in my chest or come into child's pose. You can get that kind of release, but you don't have to bring the knees all the way into the chest if you really engage the core. So draw the tummy in and up, broadening the low back that way. But can you keep the low back broad while keeping the chest open still? So shoulder blades on the back, pressing the hands down onto the chair or the mat, wherever you're at. Moving the shoulder blades down the back body. Let's take about 2 more breaths, just feeling the weight of the body in our feet and potentially our feet in our hands if we're doing regular downward dog. Good, and then go ahead and slowly walk forward. And we're gonna come into a lunge on our chair with our left leg behind us. So you're gonna sit side saddle on your chair to the right, right? So side saddle right, left leg comes back behind you. Okay, and then so adjust yourself so that the left leg's behind you, but the left knee's gonna be bent because I want you to have it bent enough so that you can maintain pelvis kind of movement. So I want you to draw your low belly in and slightly tilt the front of your pelvis towards your face. That's going to send the stretch a little deeper into the top of the left thigh. Some of you might find this is enough. Hey, I'm just going to hang out here and breathe. You might feel like you want to increase that stretch and just reach the left arm straight up. If you want to do a little bit of shoulder work, we can do eagle arms or eagle variation. So to do that, you'd bring left arm on top of right. You could just hold the arms, the shoulders here, squeezing the elbows together as you move them forward and up. Some of you might enjoy a little eagle arms here. So make it your own. Let's take about 2 or 3 more breaths here. Tilting the front of the pelvis forward and up, low belly in. Feel the stretch in the front of the left thigh. Good, and then release. Okay, so pivot on the chair so you're facing forward. And we're gonna come into a variation of side angle pose with the chair. If you can, scoot to kind of the edge of the chair till the left leg is straightening. Now, I don't know how tall your chair is at home. So you're gonna have to play around with it with where you're at, okay? So if you can do this and it doesn't feel too awkward in the hip or the knee or the ankle, please straighten your left leg while keeping your right knee bent. If this doesn't work, then just come into like a goddess pose and move into side angle from there. So beginning with the arms out left and right like a warrior two, take a big breath in. And then on an exhale, bring right forearm to thigh, just a little tap down. And then inhale, left arm away from left fingertips, reach away from that left outer edge of the foot. And try not to collapse in the shoulders, instead lifting up out of the shoulders. There's a slight rotation of your heart to the left, maybe turning up the corners of your mouth, breathing in this moment as it is. Right, so the variation of this would be just like this, like goddess pose, if it's kind of not working for your chair and your hip. Good, and then come on back up. And here, just take a moment in goddess pose. Both knees are gonna bend. Roll the shoulders. Big circles. Go the other direction. And then let's do one more shoulder roll looping the shoulders forward, up to the ears, back, and then just relax them down the back plane of the body. Feel the broadness of your collarbones. Take one breath here. Second side from the top, let's start with that lunge. So we're going to pivot to the left, right foot's back behind you. Right knee is bent. Some of you might find the knees like directly under the hip. Cool. You just want to make this sustainable, make it breathable. Low belly's pulling in, tilting front of the pelvis forward. Glutes are engaged here as you press that foot into the floor. The foot's actively pressing down. And then feel into it what expression of this pose is healthy for this side. Again, maybe right arm up, maybe both hands are on hips. If you'd like to do the eagle arm variation, you're going to bring your right arm on top of left. If this feels familiar, maybe you got to do the other side. Squeeze the elbows together. Extend the head away from the shoulders as you extend the shoulders away from each other, keeping a broad chest, broad upper back. If you'd like to come into full eagle arms, please do. Reaching the base of the skull away from the hips. Soften your jaw. Let's take one more round of breath. Good, and then slowly release. Pivot forward. Prepare for your variation of side angle pose. Maybe you straighten the right leg this time if that works for you in your chair. Extending arms left and right. And then side angle pose, second side. So nice long line of energy from the right fingertips to the outer edge of the right foot. Rotating the heart maybe a little bit to the right. Head moving back. Feel free to bend that right knee and just come into goddess pose as you extend your arms. That's totally cool if you need to. Breathing in the good. What feels good right now? Okay, come on up. Once again, goddess pose. Note both knees bend. And reach for your blocks or your stool, whatever you got. I'm fond of having like soup cans or cans of beans. They're great for that. What you're going to do is you're going to have a block on the inside of either ankle, standing up tall, or whatever it is that you have to extend your arms. Maybe you don't need it. That's cool too. This is a nice way to start, just to kind of feel in, because as we enter into poses, how can you continue to do this pose and still stay regulated in your nervous system, still breathing, even though maybe things are getting kind of weird or awkward, right? So you got your knees over your heels and your kneecaps are pointing the same direction as your toes. Bring your hands to your blocks and then bend your elbows a little bit so that now your elbows are pressing into your inner knees, okay? And then you're gonna squeeze your inner knees gently into the elbows. Elbows are like a wall, not letting those inner knees go anywhere. And once again, we have this kind of isometric stretching. So as you're doing this, keep pressing your feet down into the floor and breathing. So feet are pressing into the floor. The legs are active, but lengthening. Squeezing knees into elbows. Elbows won't let them go anywhere. Press the feet down. Let's take a few more rounds of breath here. Okay, come on up. Excellent. Come up to stand, and you're going to move your chair to the top edge of your mat and bring your hands to the seat of the chair. Let's do Hanumanasana or Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits, it's also called. So step your left foot back and then peel your right toes up. So now you're balancing on the right heel. And some of you might find that maybe the right knee needs to bend a little bit here in order to make that happen, even to lift the feet. Again, we don't care about how high those toes get, but rather, are you feeling a healthy, even stretch in the back of the leg, the calf muscle? And now gently press your right heel into the floor as you do this. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. Good, and then release. Let's do the second side. Left toes are peeling up now. Gently pressing left heel into the floor. One more round of breath. Okay, release. And then let's step back into a chair dog for just a few breaths here. Good, and then step forward. Okay, so we will be needing blocks or a stool for this next one. You're gonna take the blocks and standing at the front of your mat, you'll take your blocks or stool and just place them right in front of your toes. Have your feet about hips width distance apart. And now step your left foot back behind you. Bend your right knee coming into a warrior one pose. This could be just like a little baby warrior one. It doesn't have to be the hugest pose. And in fact, I encourage you not to have it huge because I do want you to pull your low belly in and up as you lift your heart. So once again, we're sending the stretch in the front of that left hip. Might even feel it all the way down the left thigh. And then from here, you can bring your palms together and just kind of work on this balance. Or if you want to reach up, please do. So all corners of the feet are in the mat, particularly that back foot. Make sure that the outer edge of the back foot is into the floor. Back toes are they're pointing actually to the top left corner of your mat. Front knee is bent over that heel. One more breath here. And now keep the legs as they are, and as you exhale, bring your hands to your blocks. And you can place them on either side of the front foot. So we're sending the stretch now into the right hamstring. Some of you might not need blocks. You can just bring your hands to the floor. So take care of yourself. What do you need today? If you have just a stool, you could always just have it kind of like right here. Keep that right knee bent. Couple breaths. Let your head go. Step forward and stand up. Tadasana or mountain pose. Nice and easy, smooth breath. Equaling out the inhale to exhale, and they're equal in length. And keep that equal inhale to exhale as we move through the second side. So step the right foot back, bending left knee over heel. And check it out. You want to try to square the hips towards the front of the mat. Make sure that your feet are in a hips width distance wide stance, okay? So not so much tight rope, more train tracks. So square those hips, right toes are pointing towards the right corner of the mat. Find your variation of warrior one today. Low belly in, tilting the front of the pelvis towards the face slightly. This is a really nice opportunity to stretch out all those muscles that get so tight from sitting. And we're strengthening the glutes a little bit here too. Keeping that right glute engaged. Inhaling what feels pleasurable right here. Now moving the hands towards the floor for the hamstring stretch. Maybe your hands come to that block or your stool. Keep the left knee bent over the heel. Let your head go. And of course, maybe you don't need any blocks. Maybe the fingers come to the floor. Keep intentionally pressing the ball of the foot into the mat, almost like you're pressing a gas pedal. And sometimes we have to stay a little longer on one side if we know it's a little tighter, so feel free to do that. Whenever you feel like you're balanced, both sides feel pretty good to you, you're going to take your time stepping your back foot forward into a forward fold. Maybe a block's involved. Let your head go. Take one round of breath in that forward fold. And then slowly roll up, keeping the knees bent till the head is the last thing to come up. Mountain pose. Good. Okay, let's move down to the floor. For this floor part, you may need a belt or a strap, so just have it within arm's reach. We're gonna lay on our left side with the knees bent. Doing a little bit of clam pose. We've done this one before, so the knees are bent. You can support the head with your hands, maybe rest it on the arm. Some folks enjoy a little bit of a block pillow here, so do what you need. But I'd like you to isolate this movement just in the top hip. So inhaling, lifting the right knee, exhaling, lowering it, nice and controlled. I like to sometimes place my right hand on my right hip just to see, is the rest of my body going along with the ride as I lift my knee. I want to keep it isolated. And drawing that low belly in and up is going to help you isolate this movement. So we did a lot of stretching. So good to create some strength too. Nice and slow. Okay, next time the knees come together, you're going to just roll onto your back. Come into reclined pigeon once again, right ankle over left. Drawing thighs into chest. Releasing the weight of the pelvis to the mat.
Let your belly soften. And the next exhale, release it through the mouth. And now Supta Gomukhasana legs. So we're going to bring our reclined cow face pose. We're going to close our legs tightly together. So now it's like I'm cross-legged here. There's no space between my thighs. I'm going to just collect my knees best I can and just kind of keep them pulling into the chest. They might try to get away from you once this happens. So right now I have a hand on opposite knee just to kind of keep them in place. Try to level out the pelvis, kind of equal weight on both sides of the pelvis as you do this. Now, for some of you, you might be feeling a really pleasant, healthy stretch. Please feel free to stay here. If this is okay for your knees and you like more sensation, you'll just slide the hands down towards the ankles and gently guiding the ankles away from each other. So my left hand is holding my top ankle, basically. Okay, so then from here, we're going to move into a quad stretch. And this is where you may need a strap. Okay, so um, I'll just cue it out with a strap, and then you can always let go of it if you don't need it. So the way that you do it is you grab your strap with your right hand and you try to lasso the bottom foot. Okay, so I now have the strap around my bottom foot, and my right hand is holding it. My left hand is staying right where it is on that top ankle. You could also keep it on the knee too. That's totally cool. Oh, and in fact, move it on up to the knee. Let's get on up there. Okay, so left hand on top knee. Now from here, this is kind of the tricky part. You're gonna release the outside of the bottom leg to the floor. And that's gonna mean that your left outer knee is moving towards the mat. How is it on the mat? Maybe. Is it not? It may not be. That's okay. But you're feeling a stretch in the top of the left thigh, through the left hip. Maybe you can grab a hold of that bottom foot with the hand and draw the heel closer to your glutes. Please do that. If for whatever reason, even with the strap, you're like, whoa, this is too much for my knee, please just let it go. And what you would do instead would be that first posture that we did where the feet are wide and we're in this kind of wide foot, knees swinging to the right position. You could still get a really nice stretch. Okay, so take care of yourself wherever you are. And those of you who are in this pose still, you're going to guide your top knee away from the body a little bit towards the right. Take one more round of breath. Fabulous. And then just go ahead and gently release. Both feet to the mat. And take a moment and just notice both sides of the body, both legs. And then we'll start from the top on the other side with the clams. So you're going to roll onto your right side. Knees are bent. Inhaling, left knee up. And exhaling it down, nice and controlled. And if you feel like, your body's moving a lot, like you're rocking back and forth as the knee lifts, make the movement slower and smaller. So much of the magic of yoga is the awareness that we can cultivate. And from this awareness, then we can know how to better take care of ourselves. We can better know what we need in the moment. And so just adjusting your practice, however it needs adjusting in the moment. So next time the knees are together, you're just going to roll onto your back. And now let's work on this left hip. So reclined pigeon or figure four pose, drawing the bottom thigh into the chest, keeping the top foot flexed, releasing the back of the pelvis to the mat. And the belly can soften here. Let the next exhale escape out the mouth. And now moving into reclined cow face pose. So the thighs now come together. No space between the thighs, they're tightly crossed. Hold onto the knees. So opposite hand to knee. And see if you can balance out the weight of your pelvis so it feels nice and equal. If you need more sensation, that's when you're going to slide the hands down towards the ankles. Wherever you are, breathing in this moment, greeting yourself wherever you are. Okay, as we move into the quad stretch, to prepare, if you think you're going to need it, you're going to take your strap and loop it over the bottom foot. So now my left hand is holding the strap that's around my bottom foot. I'm going to slide my opposite hand up to rest on my top knee. Release the outside, release the bottom leg to the mat. So the outer knee is kind of moving towards the mat. And from here, maybe you grab a hold of the foot. Maybe that's accessible, maybe not. Maybe you just keep holding the strap. The top knee will be gently guided away from the body. Continue to stay connected to your breath. And of course, if this isn't the right fit for your body, for your knees today, you could still get a stretch in the front of the right thigh by taking the feet wide on the mat, arms left and right, and then knees go to the left, gently squeezing the glutes, and you're just getting a nice long line of stretch in the top of the right hip. Sometimes it's I feel like for me, when I feel the fascia of my muscles stretch, it feels a little bit like a burning sensation. Um, there's a lot of sensations that are burning that are like not good, but it's more of like a broad kind of sticky burning sensation. And I'm feeling it kind of across the top of my thigh. Of course, if we feel burning sensations in our nerves or in our joints, we don't want that, right? But this is kind of an even, mild sensation that I'm experiencing. Okay, so go ahead and gently release. Place your feet on the mat, arms alongside the body. Let's just do a brief bridge, balance out the hips. Gaze at the ceiling, lifting the hips. Arms can stay alongside the body. You could hold on to the edges of the mat and really dig the elbows into the earth to help open the chest, or maybe you'd like to interlace the fingers. Take about 1 or 2 more rounds of breath here. And then release to the mat. Extend your arms left and right. Pick up your hips, sweep them to the left, and then draw the knees into the chest and let them go right. Rotating now your belly and heart and head to the left. Second side, come on through center. Release the feet and gently hop your hips through center and then a little bit off to the right. Knees into chest and then off to the right, to the left. Head and belly and heart turn right. Deepen the breath here. When you feel balanced from both sides, you'll come back through center and prepare for a relaxation pose. You could take relaxation pose just flat on the mat. Um, if the chair is nearby, you could kick your legs up on top of the chair and just rest the calves there. That can be a really nice, relaxing way to release tension in the hips. Wherever you are, find your Shavasana. Begin to scan from head to toe. Just noticing if there's any way that you're still trying to lift yourself up off the mat, like hold the weight of your body, like let your neck know it's okay. The floor's got you. Shoulders, backs of the hands, just sinking deep into the earth, hips, thigh bones, let them slide down towards the floor. The feet can just flop out to the sides if that feels nice. And allow the soles of the feet to soften and open, just like the palms, soft and open. Wiggle your face a little bit, lifting your eyebrows, and soften the muscles of your face. And now slowly take a big, deep breath in and hold it. Open the mouth, let it out. Relaxation pose. If you can stay a little longer in Shavasana and would like to, please do. If you need to move on with the rest of your day, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And then moving into a big morning stretch. Slowly drawing the knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug of gratitude for taking this time for yourself today. And then roll to one side, slowly coming up to a seat of your choice. Bringing the palms together. And just feeling into your experience, rejoicing in any aspects of your experience that are pleasurable. And imagine you could send this pleasure to somebody else. So picture this being, their face clearly. And we'll collect this goodness on an inhale and send it out with an exhale. Big breath in. Send it out to them. See them feeling alive, relaxed, good. Thank you so much for your practice today. Namaste.